Folks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have officially made some major changes to their offensive line, as it has been reported by Scott Reynolds of pewterreport.com that the team is going to officially be moving Luke Goedeke over to the right tackle position and Tristan Wirfs over to the left tackle position. Let's first start off by talking about Luke Goedeke's move from left guard to right tackle. Luke Goedeke was a second-round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in last year's NFL draft, and when he joined the team, he was initially tabbed as a left guard. He was battling with Robert Hainsey and with Nick Leverett for that starting left guard position. Then a couple of things happened. Ryan Jensen went down with his significant knee injury. That moved Robert Hainsey out of the left guard competition to the starting center role, and then it was Luke Goedeke versus Nick Leverett. Luke Goedeke initially won that competition and was the team's starting left guard for about the first 8 weeks of the season until Goedeke eventually sustained his own minor injury. This resulted in Leverett starting for a couple of games, and the Bucs never looked back to bring Goedeke back in as that starting left guard. He was on the bench until the last game of the year, where the team actually did play Goedeke at right tackle in that game. And throughout the first half of the season last year, Goedeke struggled mightily at left guard. Now, to be fair, he was going up against some of the literal best interior defensive linemen in the entirety of the NFL. So that's going to be a tough matchup for any interior O-lineman, let alone a guy who is starting his first handful of games in the entirety of his NFL career. However, in that final game against the Atlanta Falcons, when Goedeke was put at right tackle, the position that he played in college, you saw better results. This has been one of the main reasons to Bucs fans, Bucs media, and now obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wanting and calling for that move to be made, and the move eventually being made here for Goedeke to move from left guard over to right tackle. The Bucs are hoping that he can show improvement as the offensive lineman enters his second year, making that transition from guard back over to a right tackle spot. And I am personally confident that we will see a better form of Goedeke. We will see a guy that was worthy of a second-round draft pick, and I think that overall we will see a very improved starting caliber right tackle in Goedeke moving into his second year. Now let's talk about Tristan Wirfs moving over to left tackle from right tackle. We all know how good Tristan Wirfs has been at the right tackle position. Multiple-time Pro Bowler, obviously an All-Pro, all the different types of accolades. He won a Super Bowl. He has been an absolute all-star since the team took him in the first round of the NFL draft back in the 2020 NFL draft. Wirfs was fantastic, and there is a lot of people, and I understand this mindset because I have this mindset myself of, do you want to mess with a good thing? With the experimentation of potentially moving Wirfs from right tackle to left tackle? That is the first question that you've got to ask, and it is a very reasonable question to ask. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they did not take an offensive tackle in the entirety of this recent NFL draft. They had released Donovan Smith earlier in the offseason. They did not bring in a replacement for Donovan Smith, a new replacement, I guess I should say. Cody Mauch was drafted in the second round of this draft. He started 37 games at left tackle in college, but he is now moving in to a guard role with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That really left this as the best and only major option that the Buccaneers had left on the table, was to move Tristan Wirfs from right tackle to left tackle. He's been training at both tackle positions throughout the entirety of the offseason, and it certainly seems like he is going to be ready to go. I will say this: if this experiment does work and Tristan Wirfs is able to be as good of a left tackle as he is a right tackle, he is literally going to be the best tackle in the NFL. Point blank, simple as that. I have heard people say before, yes, Tristan Wirfs is probably the best right tackle in the entirety of the NFL, but it's easier to play right tackle than left tackle. How can you be a blind side blocker that is where you find that true value of a tackle and his legitimacy in the NFL. And we're going to be seeing that here. If Tristan Wirfs, again, is an all-pro, Pro Bowler caliber left tackle, the Bucs are going to pay this man so much money. It's going to be insane. He is going to be on this team for many, many, many years to come. And it's just going to be a really, really wild but fun ride at that point if Wirfs is an all-pro, is a Pro Bowl left tackle, just as good as he is at right tackle. And I will say this, if it doesn't work out at left tackle, let's say you go a season, doesn't necessarily give you the same results. Let's say Wirfs is okay at left tackle. Maybe he's good, but he's not great. He's not phenomenal. Then you can reevaluate things. You can look at the possibility of moving Wirfs back over to right tackle and getting a new starting left tackle. That is something that you can do entirely. Heck, Ali Marpet, a lot of people forget this. He started off with the Buccaneers at right guard. Then he played center. Then he played left guard, and I think he even played a little bit of right tackle in there as well. Ali Marpet moved all over the offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and in most places that you put him, he was really good. The only place that you could say he was okay, I would say good, but not great, was at center, and the Bucs decided, well, we don't want to do that anymore. They moved Ali Marpet back over to a guard position, and they brought in a guy like Ryan Jensen. You could entirely have the same type of situation here for Tristan Wirfs. If the guy isn't necessarily great at left tackle and you had to move him over to right tackle, it doesn't ruin his career if that happens. It is an experiment that didn't work out, and you move on from it, you learn from it, and there you go. But I will say that it is definitely a risk that is fine, is worth taking, because again, if it works out, my goodness, things are going to be really, really good for the Buccaneers offensive line if not just Tristan Wirfs works out over at left tackle, but especially also if Luke Goedeke works over at right tackle and is good in that role as well. If he is a quality starting right tackle, you're going to have a dynamic offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tristan Wirfs at left tackle, Luke Goedeke at right tackle, Ryan Jensen at center, probably Robert Hainsey over at left guard. Then you have either Matt Filer or Cody Mock over at that other right guard position, or maybe you have one of those guys at left guard and you have Robert Hainsey over at right guard. Point being is that this Bucs offensive line would be absolutely insane. And I think it also goes to show the amount of investment the team has made in the O-line in recent years. Luke Goedeke, former second-round pick. Cody Mock, just drafted, former second-round pick. Robert Hainsey, former third-round pick. Tristan Wirfs, former first-round pick. The team has spent a lot of draft capital on the offensive line, high draft capital at that, in the past couple of years, and it may finally start to pay off and really formulate a very solid, very capable offensive line if these couple of experiments that the Buccaneers are conducting at two of their most important positions pays off. But folks, what do you guys think about these major changes that the Buccaneers have made to their offensive line? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, folks, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.